Hi, I'm Pat Fiume. I've been a realtor for over 30 years. I'm a host of the American Dream Show. Welcome to my show, Is This for Real Estate? Welcome back. I'm here with Bayram Kose. He's an agent in our office. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So you're with RE/MAX of Cherry Hill, and people would say, oh, why are you having another agent on? But it's interesting to hear people's stories and what got them into real estate. So I guess my first question is, how did you start your career in real estate?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's the first thing that you said is, although we're from the same office, we're obviously completely different people from a different background, and we do business in different ways too. So we're not the same people. Just to emphasize on that one. But to talk about me, my name is Bayram. I'm originally from Turkey. I was born in a southeast of the country, very, very small area of the country, and I worked my entire life back in Turkey, in restaurants. I was in the military. I had my own small businesses here and there. But in 2007, I found myself here, and I really loved it, and I just decided to stay here, and I've been here ever since. So 2007. And again, started working in so many different industries. I actually did mortgages a little bit. I worked in the restaurants.
That. Yeah, I knew about the restaurants. Okay.
Yeah, and I always had real estate in the back of my head, but it was always the fear of not making money that was kind of keeping me behind. But yeah, it was always other work other than real estate. But I started real estate in 2009. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And you work with your brother too, right? Or two brothers now.
Correct, two brothers. Yes, it's my. Team? No. We're on it's a team of three. My brother Haji obviously has been doing this for a very long time. He's been in the business for about 22 years.
Wow. It was that long.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. And I came on board. I got my license in 2009, but I really didn't do real estate full time or even considerably full time all the way until 2011.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, yeah. I was always I had a little restaurant in Philadelphia. So then in 2011, I started focusing on it more, and we have been working together ever since.
Okay. So you probably get a lot of business from Turkey. I know you guys did some commercials, which I thought was really cool to go send to Turkey, because you get a lot of people coming over to the United States that need a realtor. I thought that was a really smart idea. So how did you wind up doing that?
And again, speaking of a Turkish community, although I've been licensed for a very long time, and there is a large community, right? In our area, I wasn't really involved with it that much all the way until I got married in 2020. Right. My wife is also from Turkey, and
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah. So and so they were big in a community, and I started meeting new people, and I got into. I started probably doing work with a large amount, like percentage-wise, of Turkish community, and I guess that started going overboard because there's always investors in other countries who are trying to invest their money in America. It's a very safe investment.
Right.
If you have someone that you can trust, which I thought to myself, it's a very, very good opportunity for people to do. But the problem there is convincing people or letting people know or making people understand that they can trust you, because at the end of the day, you're playing with a large sum of their money from another country. So it took me a very long time before I could establish that connection. But it's good. It's good. That's what.
And you even went so far. I think you and Haji did a commercial to get for buyers. Correct?
Yes. We were. Yes, there was a national TV channel that interviewed us, and we did a commercial with them as well. Yeah, it was just trying to get into different markets. Obviously. You can't do the same thing with everyone. You have to be creative a little bit, and we saw that as an advantage. And why not?
Absolutely, because there's people that they don't speak really good English and things, even like with the Spanish community and things like that. It's really hard to work with somebody who doesn't speak your language or even know your customs.
Yes.
So it's a whole different ballgame, and I really think it helps to have people like you out there that are there for the people coming to the United States, especially someone who's been an immigrant yourself.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
It's a little scary, you know, and you can identify with them, and because you've been there yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you put yourself into the consumer's position, you can easily understand, you know, that
Right.
what you just said, it confirms that, because again, not everyone in other countries have hundreds of thousands of dollars available to them. That's
Right.
a large amount of money. You're considered to be, you know, in a higher level in those countries, when
Right.
not speaking that people are poor there, but it is a large amount of money,
whole
and then
different
you're
world.
working with someone, you don't understand the system, you
Right.
don't know how anything works there. You don't know how, you know, whether your money is in a safe hands or not, and sometimes it doesn't even matter if you explain it to them. It still doesn't matter. It takes one or two deals before you can start gaining, you know, the trust of these.
And I've been seeing a lot of your Facebook posts. I know you and your brother have gotten into investing, so you've been doing a lot of flips. How did that all start?
Yes, you know, and again, so my brother and I always say this: the real estate is the only thing that we know. If you take that away from us, we don't have any capabilities of doing much other things. We can't dance, we can't sing, we can't really do other things. So it's just, that's what we do, and we feel comfortable doing real estate. And that was just an option, you know. It started back in maybe 2015 or 16 when my brother, you know, bought his first place and sold it, and but it is, but that's the thing about real estate, right? And for the young people who would be listening to this podcast too, you can't look at real estate just as buying and selling houses for people. Real estate has so many different avenues, and it has no cap of where you can go. It opens some doors for you that you never thought would be possible. So it's not just selling and buying houses. Transaction is just one part of the real estate. So that was that avenue, and we got onto it. And hopefully we would like to even discuss, you know, maybe explore more different ways, maybe building homes, you know,
that'd be
from
interesting.
scratch, or
Wow.
maybe even going into wholesaling. There's so many different ways, and
It's interesting.
Yeah.
You can, all the different offshoots you can go with.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Otherwise, look, just buying and selling real estate by itself, it's boring. It's you know, it's just
It
not
can be.
by itself. It after you do it for so many years,
You get
it's
set in your ways, or you get sedentary, or
yeah, that's just my opinion, by the way. I don't need to piss off anybody, you know. But yeah, it can.
It
It's,
can.
Look, all I'm saying is, if you're doing well in a business that you're in, and if you really love doing what you're doing, why wouldn't you want to discover even more parts of it? And that was just one for us, which we stumbled upon it and we loved it, and that's what we're doing. Actually, that's a large part of our business now.
Is the doing the flipping?
Yes,
Flippers.
yeah. Buying, renovating,
Buying,
and selling houses.
Yeah, I see you do a beautiful job too. I've been watching your posts on Facebook. They're all beautiful. You probably have a list of people waiting for them to come out now.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
and again, look, I am, as we were mentioning earlier, I'm not really good with social media or media itself, and that just happened to be that way too. Also, renovating houses. It didn't start out that's also another process of learning.
Absolutely.
A lot of people probably miss that part of actually learning how to match colors, buy material, hire the right people for the job.
Absolutely.
Following up, it's a whole nother process that you have to do. But it is, if you love that job, it's worth it, you know.
It is. It's an interesting job. I actually worked with some flippers back in the 90s before people were flipping. He was a contractor who was the head of a big corporation of cookie cutter kind of homes, and they kept asking him to change things aesthetically that were not structurally correct, and it was making him crazy because roofs were leaking or things were happening because they didn't like the way it looked.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the correct way to do it, and he finally got out of it. He actually wound up having a heart attack. He was under so much stress, and he was actually flipping in the 90s.
Yeah.
I have a couple of flippers I'm working with now, but it's always been interesting to me because you got to keep evolving, I think, to stay fresh.
Yeah.
Like even with myself, like I was actually, not that I'm getting bored, but I've been doing this for a long time. And started working on that new construction site 6 years ago, and I learned a lot about the new construction, like you're learning.
It's a different avenue that you're exploring.
But it helps. I find it helps me, just like looking at a house when I'm showing a house, like, oh, that's upgraded crown molding, or they're upgraded Adams molding, or the baseboards are higher, or this is upgrade. Like, it really makes you notice things that you never noticed before, or different, or look at things differently. I think from doing new construction, or doing a remodel, like, it's really a whole different animal, but it really helps you with your regular business too.
I don't like to use the term flipper for ourselves. And look, it's not because I think it's not valuable word, or it's degrading me or anything like that. But I just wanted to emphasize that we really do love our job. And when we do a property or a project, we always have that in mind, and customer satisfaction, or whoever buys this house, says happiness, it is very, very important for us, and I'm sure everybody says that, but it really is for us. We try not to cut corners. We try to do the best of our ability to actually do the projects, and that pays back to us, because all of our projects do sell for top dollar, and we don't hear back from people saying, hey, you did this project and it's falling apart. That's really important for us too. You do quality
work, and you're building somebody's dream house.
And we wanted to do it for a very long term in specific areas where people will know us. It's not a temporary thing. And the problem.
And that's important. Your reputation's everything.
Yes. And one of the issues that I've seen for the past 2-3 years with flippers or renovators or whatever we want to call it, is in pandemic, since the housing market was going crazy, and that was no inventory. It gave the opportunity to a lot of these flippers to not do a good job. They didn't have to impress anyone. They didn't have to use the quality material. They didn't have to use they could just cover things or put the cheapest material out there.
Some of them are pretty bad.
And somebody will go ahead and buy it because there was no inventory. So they some of them did get away with doing a
substandard work.
Exactly.
And you take pride in what you do, and you want people to move in and say, I love my house.
Always, absolutely. It has always been that way with us, and it will always be like that with us. And even if that means we'll stay in small area, if we're not going to grow too fast, we don't want that anyway. We kind of wanted to
keep it localized,
grow in proportionately to our happiness too.
That's important. You want to be happy and like your job. And it sounds like you guys really like your job, and you have fun with it, and you're doing what you want to do.
We try our best. Absolutely.
So you've been doing this a long time now. What's your funny story that you tell at parties, or anything that's happened to you that's been interesting or different?
Well, look, I have a story, but I don't know if it's funny or not. I guess your audience will probably make their own decision. So it's in Philadelphia, actually. I was supposed to show a house in a building, and I made the appointment. I got confirmation, and everything is fine as you should, you do normally. So we end up in Philadelphia, and the family who was going with me was kind of a large family too. This was maybe like 5-6 people. So we go up in the building, and I knock on the door just to double check nobody's there. And
I always knock. Yes, vacant.
Always. Even though I have my confirmation, I knock on the door to make sure nobody's there. Nobody answers, so I open the door. We go in, and as we're looking around the living room, the mom of the family wanted to use the bathroom, the restroom. So I'm like, there's no problem.
Test the plumbing.
Or if you want to call that. But she was like, can I use the restroom? I was like, yes. So she went ahead into the bathroom, and as we're still wandering around the apartment, we went to see the bedroom, and I opened the bedroom. There was still a couple laying in a bed together, and probably
more
from the night before, a little bit. They didn't have much on, and I didn't know what to do, and she was still in the bathroom. There's people in the living room, and it's not like you can say, hey, run, get out of here. You can't do that. So I had to slowly close the door, come back and say, hey, we need to step out of this place. I'll explain everything. And we had to wait for the lady that was in the bathroom. So it was a nerve-wracking experience for me. So
I've had stuff like that.
And these people were still sleeping. And mind you, this is like at least 11:30 in the morning. Not that early. And it was, I think, on a Saturday morning, so people probably out enjoying their lives and
Right.
sleeping in that day. So that was it.
Yeah, I've had a couple stories like that myself. I had one I'll never forget when I was newer, back in like probably early '90s. I set the appointment up. You called the husband or the wife. It was a house. I think it was Merchantville or one of them kind of little areas. And the wife goes, "Oh, I'm out of town on business." This is before like lock boxes where you had to pick up keys. That was before your time. And it was so funny. And she goes, "Oh, how about your husband? Should I call him?" She goes, "Oh no, it's Thursday. It's his golf day." I'm like, "Okay, all right." She goes, "So just go ahead. You're fine." So I take a couple there, and it was a double door entry. And we had toured this house on tour, and it was perfect for my buyers. And so I always knock. I even knock on vacant houses. People think I'm crazy, but I've found people like sleeping there or crashing there, family members, you never know. And I knock on the door, I'm like, "Hello," and like nobody's there. And I open the door, we walk in the door, and I see sheets flying up in the air. And the guy comes to the door, and he's like got a towel wrapped around him or a sheet wrapped around him. He goes, "Get out of my house!" And he slams the door. I'm like, "Okay."
Oh my God! Wow. Yeah,
uncomfortable.
We experience a lot of these stories because the amount of people and the amount of properties that we interact with is just huge.
Yeah.
Especially if you're busy in your area, if you have a lot of clients, you're interacting with buyers, sellers, showings, a ton of things. So
you're bound to run into something eventually. There's always a lot of funny stories.
That sure is. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us here. Is this for real estate?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Pleasure. This was really nice. Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun, and I thought I'd be a little nervous, but I felt
you
pretty
did
good.
great.
So thank
you
you.
did good.
No,
Okay, well, thank you.